Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back again. We're here in the Kiev Major Southeast Asian Qualifiers. It's game number 2, Clutch Gamers facing off against TNC Pro Team. We have Clutch Gamers up 1-0 after TNC Pro Team were not able to fully convert on their, well, sort of early-ish mid-game advantage that they had built up. How you doing, Lumi? You're here joining me as well. The lovely.
I'm doing okay. Let's see if Clutch Gamer is gonna continue their big streak here. Not a big streak, but you know what I mean. Continue their one-win game, one-win streak.
It's a big streak in their
That's
hearts.
a big streak.
In their heart. And in the context of the series, it's pretty damn big, too, because you win 2 and you win.
They're halfway there.
Living on a prayer.
Yep. All right, we got the slaughter again.
Yeah.
Tim's.
So this is the interesting thing. We see the Ogre taken by Clutch first overall,
Yep.
and then TNC takes Slardar Rubik, to which Clutch Gamers respond with the Darkseer. I think that there's a lot of things going on right here. First of all, Clutch Gamers love taking Darkseer themselves, even though TNC had it last time. But TNC are going to deny the Rubik from Fly Solo, who played it oh so well last time around. But they're going to try and entrust their hearts and dreams into Tim's. Do you think this is a good decision, this trade-off?
It's not 100% that Tim's is playing the slaughter, right? Because Sam H could play in the offlane role as well.
Yeah.
So we don't exactly know what Tim's is playing. And I don't want to kind of focus too much on Tim's because, you know, everyone has off games. Everyone has off days. So let's just hope that he could kind of go forth and play well. But I do want to talk about the Rubik. I don't think it's just a block pick. As well as Fly Solo played last game, we got to keep in mind that Rior is also amazing on this hero as well. So I think TNC is kind of just drafting what they want to be playing and what they want to be picking. And this is where I want to kind of begin our framing our discussion moving forward is TNC, how versatile are their core players? Because I see like Cuckoo as well as Raven, they play pretty much everything that is in the current metagame, right?
Pretty much everything that's popular. I think that probably Cuckoo's best hero is his Tinker.
Okay. We actually haven't seen too much of that at all.
No.
Yeah. Are you expecting this to be a mid-juggernaut or a safe lane juggernaut? Because TNC was the originator of the mid-jug.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, that was when it was Teehee playing it, and I think that they've stuck with that same formula of success.
Right.
I like it, I actually think I like it more on Cuckoo, because it's a hero where he can still play that aggressive style that he likes, but you kind of have that handicaps, the training wheels, if you will, of the get-out-of-jail-free card with the Blade Fury Spin TP.
Sure.
So I think that would fit them perfectly if they played it mid. And with the Disruptor taken as well, that's actually, I just really like that pick in general. That's quite good here.
Yeah, I really like Disruptor versus the Juggernaut. Now, obviously, none of your combo works if he's spinning, but a lot of times when you put a Thunder Strike on the Juggernaut and he's trying to run away from an engagement, he likely had to spin in the first place to run away. And that means the spin is down and Glimpse is going to be a freebie in terms of get him. Disruptor just adds so much more pressure to the Juggernaut player in terms of forcing you to retreat in a timely fashion. But back to the Juggernaut, I think the beauty of Juggernaut is you pick it here. It could be a mid, it could be your safe lane. You get to kind of adapt depending on what the situation is, because he's one of the few melee heroes that actually lanes extremely well against the Darkseer.
Yeah, and I think that the other thing about him too is that you've got the ability to go aggro if you want. Like you can play him in the super high tempo, take down the towers like we saw in game number 2 of TNC versus Faceless yesterday. Or you can play the pickoff game, which is what we see here with the Nyx, and he allows you to push out lanes, Manta style, you know, pop that and then go for the Blade Fury TP away. And considering we see the Nyx now, I'm kind of leaning towards it being more likely a Raven Juggernaut and then taking something else for the mid here. Just because I think that that style of play is more well-suited to Raven than Cuckoo.
You know, we haven't seen the Nyx Darkseer matchup in a long time. And I'm not saying that they're going to lane against each other, but more so that Nyx Assassin in the mid-game is going to make Darkseer's life miserable, right? You are next to him, you pop your Spike Carapace, Darkseer stuns himself because he always has an Iron Shell on. Your Mana Burn does a buttload of damage to the Darkseer, and as we saw in the last game, there is various instances where Darkseers just run out of mana. Whether you get hit by Sanity's Eclipse, in this game you're going to get hit by multiple Mana Burn, which is going to hurt a ton. I think Darkseer is going to have a rather tough time, and he might need to adjust his item builds to kind of reflect that. He might need to go for an earlier Guardian Grease than he would normally like to.
You know, and I think that this is going to be a really interesting game to watch next. I love the idea of him picking up an early Midas and getting levels here, because if he does get a lot of levels, look at these heroes. 3 int heroes already that are great for mana burn, but you also have, like you were talking about, the setup with the Spike Carapace. So you're kind of going to want both of those, and obviously you're going to be maxing Impale first anyways. So getting the high levels on Nyx early is going to be paramount. And Clutch Gamers going back for the wombo of the combo. Sven with an Ogre there to give him Bloodlust. You got Vacuum Wall. You got Disruptor. This could be pretty fireworksy.
Yeah, not only is Sven good for the combo like you're mentioning, it's also a core that will generally beat a Juggernaut 1v1. As long as Juggernaut doesn't have like 3 extra items on a Sven, you pop the Warcry, you could tank an Omni Slash. If Juggernaut's spinning at you, you just man him and hit him. So, kind of historically, this is one of those heroes that just straight up quote-unquote counters a Juggernaut. Now, to be fair, Juggernaut will have Corrosive Haze aiding him, but a lot of the physical damage from the TNC side will be mitigated by that Warcry.
Yeah, and I think that like this is the perfect time where TNC would have loved to go for something like a Shadow Fiend, another hero that gives you that minus armor, but obviously that's banned out at this point. And the ways that we've seen Sven get punished heavily with a Slardar tends to be when there's either like a Dazzle or a Shadow Fiend or one of those other minus armor heroes in the pool. And if you don't have enough of it, then he can just really stand tall against that lineup. So the last pick, Alk as well. Man, I like this draft a lot.
Ooh. This could be a 2-0, man.
My God.
This could be a 2-0. You know, if you want minus armor in the form of carry Venge is still in the pool, although I don't generally see TNC making picks like those.
Yeah. I still think that this one fits Raven more playing it the way they're going to have to play it. But now actually, with the Alk, you might need to think about switching it up and going back for like some heavy push here. I think those are your two options. You either fully invest into late game, trying to draw it out as long as possible. You take something like Storm or something
I don't know
that.
if Storm's late game enough. I wouldn't say it's... I would say Storm is more for the pick plan, which...
Right, and then trying to translate that into towers, as opposed to group up and push. I think those are your two answers here, because you can't just try and team fight this lineup.
I think I go Invoker here. I put my Invoker mid. The reason being that Nyx Assassin plus Invoker Sunstrike ganks is a very good way to tie you through the mid game. And Invoker plus Juggernaut as a combo can carry you into late game as well. But instead, it's going to be the Tro. We've seen Team Faceless do this. He is a hero to man fight. And can he man fight the Sven, the manliest of all heroes?
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Well, we're going to hop into the game now. Game number 2. And I think the Troll Warlord fits more into the style of play of, like, try and pressure them early, take down Roshan over and over and over again, and just run down those lanes.
See, I think he does both.
Really?
I think he goes late as well.
Yeah.
Not only can he go like into the early game and take objective, like you say, but he aids your team so much in terms of damage output. Between Corrosive Haze and Battle Trance, this Juggernaut is probably going to pierce through Warcry, which is kind of crazy to think about, right? Plus 20 armor. I don't know. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's going to be an Alchemist, but we'll see.
I'm never going to bet against Alchemist again. Like, honestly, I can't. I've been burned one too many times. The hero is...
Oh, did you bet against the Faceless Alk yesterday?
No, I didn't, because
Okay.
I was thinking more back to like the Boston Major when Alk was just winning everything, and my heart going out for various teams that ended up losing to it. Anyways, I could talk about Alk for a while and why the hero makes me sad, but the most important thing now is that we are into the game, and we can talk a little bit about why we think this could be a really good pick. What do you have to be most concerned about, like in this game? Because they can't really run at him early either. Tim's on the Slardar has been known for making great rotations, but against an Alk, it seems unlikely to work, with the Ogre most likely hanging out mid to give him a good start.
I think it's important to, because Alk 4 or 5 minutes into the game starts to duck into the jungle,
right,
to start acid spraying the camp. I think that's where Tims needs to strike. Now, I don't think Tims will be able to kill him, but you just kind of stay near his vicinity, take some experience, go in, crush his camp once or twice, just to make him work for it. You don't let him have a freebie. And then I don't think TNC has a lot of early game options. Rather, I think once the 10, 11 minute comes where you have the max healing ward, you just go. You just hit towers, hit buildings.
Yeah.
Surgically remove them one by one by one. And of course, a lot of it is also up to Sam H to contain the Alchemist and sending Vendetta ganks up to his way all the time. Let's not kid ourselves. TNC needs to really, really play well, outplay Clutch Gamer, in fact, to have a shot in this game.
It is going to be Raven on the Juggernaut like we were talking about. Just seems to fit the style of game that they're going to need, and Cuckoo can be the one that goes a little bit, well, for risk of putting myself on a pun train, Cuckoo this game. And I think that the other thing to keep in mind here is that I really like the idea that you had of the Sunstrike Invoker combo, because I'm thinking like around that mid-game time when you have, is Armel going to go for a second bounty rune here?
Yes,
they're giving him both of it?
Yes, he is.
Okay. That's a great way to start, and now he has a poor man's show for lane. Fine.
But look at what Rior's doing. Rior solo smokes himself. I think he's looking for some sort of courier snipe. He's going to put a ward behind the tower.
Oh my god. All right, well this actually
This is a way to win the lane, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, he's going to see it coming. He's going to tango through, or he's going to just snipe. And what's on the courier? That's Pro Man Shield gone.
Oh
300 gold. He's going to taunt on his way out.
I think that's the auto thing.
That is perfect play.
Beautiful, beautiful display there. That's what you need to have happen. So really heads-up play there by TNC. This is going to give their troll a really good start in the laning phase. And now Armel, who would have had a great time here, is now going to be punished pretty heavily. And
yep,
Boombox having some trouble as well.
You really need that Pro Man show against Troll Warlord because he hits actually rather hard.
So other things I was talking about is that I'm thinking if they do not end up just completely dumpstering this Alchemist in lane, which is looking like they could do, how are you going to be able to move in and actually find the kills in the jungle? Like, because Nyx alone is not going to be able to take down Armel unless he's just farming really greedily.
Yeah, I think you need to take your Slardar or your Rubik. Actually, Rubik's not even going to be enough. You definitely need Slardar or Juggernaut. So we're going to need to see Raven or Cuckoo play rather aggressively in the mid-game as well. There's going to be a fine balance for TNC to strike where they need to get farm, but also stay aggressive on the map.
All right, you can see over here in the bottom lane, Hana just planning to stay within creep experience range, while top lane as well, we've got Sam H getting the most that he possibly can as well. He's already got boots up, so he's pretty well farmed. Both of them at level 2. And mid lane, honestly, the Alk has not been hurt that much. He's taken a lot of damage, but it hasn't really been Troll able to force him out of lane or stop him from farming that much.
He's out of regen now, right? The courier is back up in 28 seconds, so I don't think really TNC could take advantage of the fact that he's out of regen, but they're doing a decent job. The problem comes now where the Alchemist has 2 points in Acid Spray, and I don't know what the Troll could do when he starts to spam that spell.
Yeah. A little bit of a pause coming out. Apparently there's some issue going on with Mr. Timms himself. He ended up moving down and picking up both of the bounty runes, so this is sort of the way that he's been playing this hero consistently through these qualifiers and leading up to them as well. But yeah, Armel just drops it down and Cuckoo has to stand in it.
No, he's actually getting a lot of these last hit and deny regardless under the tower, but that regen needs to come, and the courier is sitting behind the tier 2. He's also afraid of some sort of... Oh, in fact, is he going to go down here?
Oh my god, they dive. They kill off Cuckoo in the mid lane. They just ran at him.
Yeah. You rarely see Cuckoo kind of die to those kind of plays, right? That was just rather careless.
I mean, here's the thing about Cuckoo is that he is a kind of unpredictable player in general, but that tends to happen late games when he's going for like the big plays.
Right.
You are usually able to count on him in the laning phase. But maybe just the tension of this game. You are one game away from elimination when some people were thinking that TNC would be a direct invite, and now facing elimination, it's a scary prospect.
All right, we're going to have the 2 supports smoked up. They're looking to go top, or rather maybe a wrap around mid. You said it was important to shut down Alchemist, and you see that Cuckoo is now softening up Armel a little bit.
This would be a huge kill if they're able to find it.
It
looks
should
like
be enough.
Armel, they just need to get within range of the lip. They go for the slow. There's the pullback. The TP is coming in from the Ogre. Not nearly going to be in time, though. And, well, stun, and Cuckoo, he does find that kill.
Yep. Not only was it an Alchemist kill, it's also very important that Cuckoo got the last hit there because he needed that help. He needed to catch up. So good stuff so far. He's going to ferry out more boots. I am curious in terms of what you think about Sam H's build. He started the game with boots of speed, which is pretty common in the offlane situation. In fact, nice 2-man impale. gets a rune, walks away. Although, might die here. Ignite and a Hasted Ogre comes in. They have the Stormhammer. They'll pop it.
Yeah, this should be a kill.
I think the stuns actually kind of stacked a little bit, but because of the haste rune, they should be able to pick it up. Yeah,
they had Thunderstrike too, so giving a little bit of farm there over to the Ogre. I like the Sam H build by and large. I don't remember if he ended up starting with the double mango or not.
No, he didn't, because he went boots first. So
okay.
that was the point I was trying to make. It's like, you know, Ice always go double mango, and I'm just wondering if that perhaps would be better.
Yeah, I think that that might be. It still looks like he had a decent time in laning phase. He's actually ahead of the Darkseer in terms of farm, and maybe some of that has to do with the Slardar running around stealing bounty runes, etc. But I think that's the trade-off, right? Is that you are able to have more movement into the jungle, stealing bounty runes as Sam H, and then you end up paying for it every now and then by getting killed like that. But that's not the worst thing in the world.
Yep. Alright, so this is the phase of the game where Armel ducks in the jungle and starts acid spraying away. He goes back in the lane to acid spray more. It's gonna be rough here for TNC because none of the rotations are going into the jungle. They're not really slowing him down. I don't think one kill is nearly enough to stop an Alchemist, so.
Well, and like you talked about in the draft, I was expecting and actually really liking the idea that you had of an Invoker, because you think about what an Invoker could have done right now instead of Cuckoo. If Armel goes into the jungle, you have the Nyx that's there. He just pops the Spike Carapace on the Acid Spray, and then that's an easy kill over and over and over again. But
maybe not exactly right now because he doesn't have Vendetta yet, but yeah, maybe like in 2-3 minutes from now.
Exactly, and like now you've got Tims who's going to be able to come in here and soak up some experience, but there's no chance for a kill.
No. He will drop a ward, though.
Blocks out the camp. That's something that they can do at the very least. But, yeah, tough one. So 6 minutes in, Hana's going to be able to get that bounty rune. It looks like they're going to make this movement up towards picking one and see if they can find something here.
Tims might be in a little bit of trouble. He's going to have to run through the Ogre on the way out. Eats a Fire Blast, Ignite combo.
They have Glimpse. Tims just out of range, and they're not going to be able to get him.
All right. Top lane, Sam H. Goes on up being a little bit, but just scares him into using a Warcry. Now, obviously, you know, you pointed out the merits of what an Invoker can do, but let's not forget Troll Warlord pressures towers much better than an Invoker can. I think that's kind of the angle that TNC is taking, at least in the relatively early phase of the game. They're looking to take down these Tier 1 towers very quickly and then pressure the jungle of the Alchemist.
Yeah, I think that that's a good way to play it. Oh, they might be able to do something here. Abang's still in the area. Sam H could steal some, maybe get the courier snipe. All right, they find it. That's the bottle of Armel, so something going their way there.
Yeah, that's the second time courier dying, but looks like Tims might be in a little bit of trouble. In fact, they're thinking about coming back in. Abang's going to eat Impale. Crush is going to follow things up. They pop the Battle Trance. Look at that Nyx.
All right. Apparently, high attack speed Nyx Assassin finding a kill on the Sven. Not what you would have expected. This hero with 7 armor on top of him and a bunch of heroes around, but yeah, they take advantage of that situation and they end up taking him down.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, the cool thing was that Cuckoo had a arcane rune when he popped the Battle Trance, so I was like ready to go again in case they need it.
And they're doing a good job of continuing to follow around the Alk, but there isn't that kill still that they need on him.
I think it's good enough. Again, it's not kills, but you know, you do what your lineup is capable of doing, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, just slow him down as best as you could possibly can.
Meanwhile, we haven't talked a whole lot about it so far. Raven has gone 58 and 12 in his lane, currently level 7. So been sharing a good bit of that experience with other people. But he's going to be able to at least be a relevant force in these fights pretty soon as well. I imagine you just keep on farming up until maybe you get that level 2 ulti, and then you can make some rotations. Or possibly you have Nyx run into your lane and help out for a kill on the Darkseer.
Yeah, I think for Raven, he's going to just have a teleport scroll on him. If there's a fight that breaks next to his tower, he will make that port, but until then, I think getting that level is quite key. It's not just about the level 2 healing, level 2 Omni Slash, but also about maxing healing ward, because they'll need it to push against Acid Spray.
And Tims, again, in position to take the bounty rune away and just sort of look at the Alchemist there.
As I say that, Raven is supporting up top. He's only at half HP, but does have the Omni Slash available.
They spot this out, though. They see Raven moving up towards the top lane, and they are going to react. Yeah, Sven is just backing out. He doesn't have a TP, though, so this is a scary moment. He's going to hide behind the tower, and We might even need to see some rotations. Does anybody else have TPs? Alk doesn't. Disruptor does. Darkseer, they're going for him. There's the initiation. They get the Impale as well. Can they get into range? Omni Slash comes out. They're not able to share the damage, and, well, Abeng just goes down. So now maybe Raven is going to be the one who could get gone on. They have the Fire Blast there, but it looks like Fly Solo did not stay in range to go for any type of a glimpse play.
Yeah, even though he got scouted out, TNC making that play work is actually fairly lucky for them. Glimpse back on SamH. SamH does not care. He's walking straight in the healing ward, giving them the ability to dive like that. Fly Solo gets that last hit before he dies.
Yeah.
Worth, I guess. And Tim's is going to pick up the kill. Now, this is the Tim's I was talking about, you know?
Yeah.
He heard the pep talk, went to the restaurant I recommended, got some rice. That's why they needed the 10-minute break in between, you know?
Yeah, we need to get our rice, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, in the meantime, you've got yourself a Slardar almost level 6. There is a rotation down towards the bottom lane with a Vendetta up.
Ooh, Hana's dead.
Spike might be able to go for it. Yep, goes for the initiation. There's the Impale. He's out of there. And Abeng can't believe it. Maybe going to be able to do something to SamH here. He has the Iron Shell on him. Chase is going to continue the movement speed, but can they get him? No! They caught the lift up there. Rio are on top of him. The crush to follow, and Abeng needs to be careful.
Ogre is coming in as well. There's going to be a Storm Hammer. They have Impale. They will Impale up on Abeng. Abeng's going to get slowed down. He's going to get crushed again. One more right click, and it looks like Tim's going to pick up a killing spree. And now Ogre is in a lot of trouble as well. They're going to get him as well.
All right.
TNC.
That was absurd. The Iron Shell did so much damage in that fight, but they just couldn't find a kill. Beautiful play by TNC to dodge away from that. He ended up doing more damage, about the same amount of damage as the Sven in that engagement.
Yep. Now the big question is that enough? All of those kills were nice. It's not on the Alchemist. Alchemist, if you look at his current net worth, he is more than halfway to the Sacred Relic. He is unimpeded when it comes to farm. He's stacking for himself. It's looking scary, man.
Yeah. I think that you've taken down one tier 1 tower. You're about to get another one here. But it does not feel like it has been enough yet to really put the screws to Clutch Gamers. If they can keep up this pressure, it's solid, but it's a constant battle. And, well, now they've been able to find Hana, the rotation in. Now maybe TNC in a little bit of trouble. They do have a glimpse if they want to use it, but
they don't want to fight next to the shrine to kind of force that kind of play. Now, some would say that the Radiant team is doing enough, because if you look at the net worth, Alchemist is not that far ahead of the kind of the Radiant cores, and as an Alchemist player, you need to be very far ahead. So on that metric, I think TNC is doing quite okay. But on the other metric is that Armel is, you know, gonna be very, very far ahead relatively soon once the relic gets picked up.
All right. So Disruptor. Oh, they break the smoke on that. That's unfortunate. Abeng is right there on top of him. Tim's is on the high ground. Crush onto 3. Can they find any more? Impale off the mark. Static Storm on a Cuckoo. He's controlled for the moment, but Raven has gone in now. And, well, that's going to end up being a dead Ogre. Maybe they can find a kill on a Cuckoo, but it's not enough damage. And now they're going to be able to go into Roshan and should be able to secure this quite easily. Yeah,
Static Storm dropping, also not hitting too much. So I guess TNC could have really gotten more, but the Nyx Assassin by SamH. A rare miss, but this is kind of the game plan for TNC, right? We said that they need to be aggressive, they need to take objectives, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Now the TP down here bottom. If they could find this kill onto Armel, it would be a great display from them. They are going in. There's the crush onto Armel. They still have Hana in the area. No mechanism at this point, but they're on top of him. They glimpse away the troll. This is the fight that they want to take now, but no glimpse to pull Tim's back in. SamH still under tower. Can they find this kill? He ends up going for the self-stun, and, well, that's the vacuum to interrupt the Impale from SamH. Good play there as well. Armel so low, needs to arm with toggle. The stun is enough, though, and they do manage to bring down Tim's, but it's at a big old cost, and Raven taking down another Fly Solo to fall.
Tro is back in the fight right now. He does not have the slow access just yet, but Raven's also in the fight. He's looking for the spin. Boomback is trying his best to juke, and there is no juking that one. And now on the right side, Stormhammer does go onto the Tro, but Cuckoo is going to win that man fight. And all of a sudden, that was a 4-for-1 exchange with them fighting a lot of the fight, like what, 4v5? Because Tro got sent back and all that jazz.
Yeah. And now they've clearly done enough. 7,500 net worth lead, 7,500 experience lead. Roche down, tier 1 down as well.
Oh, tier 2's going down too.
Yeah,
if you're TNC, you're not stopping.
I think that you've got Ion Shells with the Darks here to try and push these waves out on the sides. That way you can just defend one wave. But this wave is going to go down.
Oh, that battle trance, making it look so easy. And you know, this is where the Troll Warlord looks much better than Invoker, right?
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're just taking towers left and right. It looks like the fight's
Hana's
not over
dead.
yet. Hana gonna get caught here. Tim's heard the words, man. Look at him this game. He's 5-1 and 4 as a support Slardar. He's gonna amplify solo. He says, "I see you, bro," and there's nowhere for you to run.
Yeah, it's a rough life indeed for that Disruptor who does end up falling. I mean, Alchemist, the game plan hasn't changed for him. Farm, farm, farm. But I think that Clutch Gamers are definitely hurting at this stage. And
I mean, right now, I'm not sure it's farm, farm, farm. Clutch Gamer is feed because TNC's over them, and that's going to be another tier 2.
yeah, I think that Armel is dead now, though, as well.
Yep.
There's Nyx Assassin here. There's the Impale. Right clicks. Armlet Toggle got off. Trying to run away from this. Gets the stun. Another Armlet Toggle. Any way out of this? Okay, Armlet Toggle. Armlet Toggle. Armlet Toggle. Armlet.
You know, the funny thing is that both Cuckoo and Raven rotated up top instead of taking that tier 2, which is rightfully theirs.
Yeah.
They didn't get the Alchemist. They didn't get the tier 2, so a lot of space creation for himself, Mr. Armel.
That was a pretty funny one. And that was big because he didn't have the Courier in range to get the Radiance either. He never doubted for a second. He didn't buy the recipe out even. So this is going to be the Relic and only about, I think, like 900, a little bit of gold away from the Radiance.
Still, a 10,000 gold lead, though, for TNC.
Yeah.
Outer tower is being surgically removed.
I don't know if they can ever feel completely comfortable in this game because of how good the team fight is from Clutch, but they're clearly in a much more dominant position. And if they play it right, if they play it safe, they'll be fine. You know what I mean? They're in quite a substantial lead, but they can't get too complacent.
Yeah, I hear you. There's the danger where if you just lose one team fight to the Alchemist, that 10k net worth lead you have evaporates.
Definitely.
Because Alchemist could get the map so much and so quickly. Now the other thing that they have going for them is, as we see a Nyx Assassin gonna find himself Flysoul. I don't know why Flysoul is there on some warding mission.
Yeah, he got this one mid, and they ping it out immediately where it is. So,
but as I was saying, the other thing that TNC has going for them is that this Sven is super poor.
Right. Yeah, he has been hampered. He is a support Sven at this stage of the game.
Yep.
We also have Rubik who stole Bloodlust. So now if you didn't have enough attack speed before, you're going to continue to have more. And was that a gem? Who picked up the gem?
That was Rubik.
Okay. Slardar has a Midas to try and secure the late game. I don't know if I completely love that one. We've been seeing like a lot of Midases that get picked up by teams that are like really far in the lead. And I feel like Clutch Gamers, if they do manage, like you kind of want to build items that are going to allow you to take fights more effectively, right?
Yes and no. I think for Slardar, it's a very interesting case. So let's say he didn't buy the Midas, right? He would have something like a Force Staff, which, yes, will help him initiate and then kind of transition from fight to fight a lot better. But for Slardar, if he gets to level 18 for that max Corrosive Haze, that's a big part of them winning fights and killing the Alchemist. So I'm okay with them actually getting this. And of course, it secures them more late game farm as well.
Yeah.
But the level 18 is so ultra important against the Warcry, against the Alchemist, that I think this is actually the best item that he could have gotten.
Okay. They also saw the Nyx Assassin pick it up also, which we were talking about. Getting more points in this mana burn against this high int lineup, with the exception of Sven and the Alk, obviously, is really great because we've been seeing these supports just evaporate in the team fights, and that's going to continue to happen. We do have the Blink Dagger on the Darkseer. Ended up going for that before the mechanism even, realizing how important that high ground hold was. And I think that in spite of the fact that they're so far behind, TNC is making the right move by not trying to pressure too far.
They're respecting the high ground. They understand that it's so hard to break a high ground, which involves a Blink Vacuum and a Blink Sven stun. Well, or soon to be a Blink Sven stun, as he has the Blink Dagger queued up. You can, again, just lose a game on that high ground.
Yeah, and then Static Storm on top of it as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, there aren't any BKBs on this lineup yet, are there? Yeah, Troll is building into his, so I think that waiting for that is really much the correct decision.
Yes, Armel is continuing to get farm with Grievous Greed bonus, but it's a different level of farm, right? Like a normal Alchemist is on your tier 2s at the bottom right now, like split pushing the whole map.
Yeah,
But
they've been inside their base for the past like 4 minutes.
TNC is completely fine giving Armel one wave every 30 seconds.
And Armel is not completely fine with that.
No.
He's rather upset, as a matter of fact. Look at him. He's full of rage.
These Dota puns, man.
Got to keep up with it.
Our Dota dat jokes.
It's great. TNC. And they do eventually go for that high ground push. What do you think it's going to look like for them? Is it the Juggernaut Blade Furying on the top of the map or right there on top of the high ground, or do you think it's Troll Warlord and Axe's form? He didn't go for the Dragonlance build this time on Troll. Instead, we're seeing the Sanjay Nasha picked up.
So I think it's going to come in two forms. Either they get a pick, which is an invitation to a push. That's kind of the easy way that TNC could break the high ground. Or TNC is going to finish some big items like a BKB on Cuckoo, get an Aegis, and then go. So I think we're going to at least have to wait till the Roche spawn.
Okay. And if you are Clutch Gamers, do you go and try and defend the Aegis at all? Do you just wait high ground?
I mean, they have the team fight to actually perhaps make a fight at the Aegis. That kind of depends on whether the blink is done on Sven by then. It looks like it will be done.
Yeah.
So I think it's up to them. I think they have what it takes to take a fight at the Roche spawn. The problem is that they are doing it blind. Look at the vision near Roche.
Yeah.
There is none.
Well, there's none for either team, which is the plus side.
That's, I mean, more of a plus for Clutch, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, they are smoked up right now.
All right, they realize that Roche could be up, and it actually is like an instant spawn there as well. So they're going to go and try and find a pick-off. If they could pick somebody off here, this is a huge moment for them. And Alchemist is showing in lanes they're expecting nothing to really be wrong. Tims might end up breaking the smoke here. Boombox runs into him.
Woo!
Oh, the nice reactions.
He gets glimpsed back here, but that's not exactly a dangerous territory. So smoke gets broken.
They have another one. They have another one on Disruptor, so they could go again.
But here's the thing. Boomback is amped.
Yeah.
So even if you smoke, they will have vision of you still.
God, Tims, that was such a good play. He blinks out and gets the amp on him. That's like the perfect situation for that for TNC in that smoke.
Yep. So I believe the courier of the Radiant side just got microed on top of the Roshan, so they would have seen it. And there's a double damage just waiting outside, man.
Yeah, I think that if you are Clutch, you do kind of want to go into this, though, because if you are holding your high ground, it only gets harder when you don't have the...
Why is nobody taking that DD? It's running out soon. Okay, there you go.
All right, they're going to get it. And moving in for this area, they need to get here quickly. Clutch Gamers, they decide that they can't go for it.
And they are correct.
I don't know, it's tough, because now you have to fight into an Aegis, which is the scary side.
Now, again, the high ground defense is quite nice. They got the Acid Spray for a little bit of a kind of weakening you up, softening you up, and then they got the big combo. The problem with that combo is you got one try at it, one opportunity.
And you also have a 7,200 net worth Sven. He has level 2 ulti. That's something. It's something.
He's got a blink.
Yeah.
He can combo. In fact, they could do the wombo combo.
What? Oh, Courier. What was on that one? That was the Manta style. Oh, that really hurts.
How many times did the Courier die this game? 3, 4 times?
Something like that. Well, bottom lane is where it looks like the pressure is going to come, and Cuckoo is already there, DD in hand, trying to hit now onto the base, starting to drop low. They steal Acid Spray as well. Rior has just been playing this game beautifully, and Kinetic Field, Disruption as well. Cuckoo, they're dropping a lot onto this guy, and he still has Aegis. They pull back in onto Armwell. He evaporates in an instant.
Corrosive Haze, man. Make him look like paper. BKB did get activated, but, you know, the Rax is going to go down. Obviously, no buyback go from the Alchemist because he's putting it all into his items.
Oh, another big crush there. Can they find any more? Fly solo. They get the Disruptor ulti, the vacuum wall.
Okay.
It's pretty good. The Spanish going to be able to take down Cuckoo maybe as well. All right, that was what they needed, but 4 are still dead, and it's not going to be good enough. That was...
Hana barely surges the way Tims want the kill, but... I mean, honestly, TNC didn't even have to make that play. Like, they kind of handed 3 kills on a silver platter to Clutch, but they just had so much net worth advantage. that it didn't even matter.
I mean, it looked pretty there, and you saw the potential from Clutch Gamers, but with Alk already dead at the start of the fight, no buyback possibility, they just have too much.
Yep.
It's pretty sick, though.
Yeah, it did. I mean, HP bar was dropping, and considering that they were down so much, it looked okay. They're trying to stun up here. Cuckoo will probably get glimpsed back.
It's about the most you could hope for, is what we'll say about it.
Oh, that looked really cool. That Axis just followed him.
Yeah.
All right, 2 lanes of Rex. TNC will reset, buy some new items, get the waves pushed back in, because Alchemist will inevitably push it out.
Very impressive display from TNC. I think after that last game in particular, they were like, all right, we need to get ourselves back together. Let's go for the tried and true and tested strategy. We'll build this draft where we just take down lane after lane after lane after lane. And they made it work. I think that this is it's going to be hard for Clutch Gamers to come back. They do still have the heroes that allow you to make that type of a comeback, but it needs to be perfect from here on out.
Yeah, and Cuckoo has a double damage again.
What the hell?
All right. I mean, that it pays to check the runes.
How does he keep getting these?
All right, smoked up. I think they're just going for the juggler here. Like, if they just get any kill.
Yeah, and it's only 15 seconds until Alka would have his Manta style. So if they can get this on Armel, possibly that helps you enough in the fight. Like that last fight, you also didn't have the Manta.
There's some deep stuff. Boom back. Are they jumping on him?
Yeah, they stun the Alk, but he is very far back. Cuckoo is just going to go in, take this down. This isn't the end of the world for them, but like they can still take this fight.
Cuckoo just runs in the, doesn't have Aegis anymore. He
Right.
dumps the BKB and will win the match by stolen God Strength. They use up the Alk, they will stun up the Alk, and his HP bar is dropping fast. Will Manta needs to armor toggle this. No armor toggle didn't do this one. The Purge on Abing slowing him down. He did drop the stun here on Cuckoo, but it's not going to be enough. Abing will lose the man fight barely, and that just should be enough.
Yeah. Very clean play, very clean game from TNC, and they are going to take number 2, 23-5. Again, there was always a chance for a comeback, but it was going to need to be a comeback big time as TNC won that early stages. And Lumi, after the first couple of games, it felt like Clutch, they struggled to win number 1. They got dominated in game number 2. Are you expecting the TNC to dominate again, or do you think it's going to be back to a bit more even?
I expect TNC to dominate. I feel like both game TNC play much better, even though TNC lost game 1.
Yeah.
A lot of the first half of the TNC, I thought they played much better as a unit. And I think this game, the big difference is that Tim stepped up.
Yeah.
0-12 first game, 6-1-11 game 2.
I think that if you're a player and you have a game like that, game number 1, you have that like inner fire. You're a competitor. These are like the top of the region for a reason, and
I don't know. I cry myself in a closet if I have a game 1 like that.
that's why you're not a competitive player.
That's why I'm a 2K caster, guys.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I do the same thing. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's a rough life. Like I think that they have that inner mentality where they just want to make it work. So maybe we see something similar out of these guys next time. Fly Solo went 0-6. He might be a little bit upset as well. What do you think?
I think he's upset.
All right. Well, we'll be back, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 3 right around the corner. It is, of course, going to be TNC versus Clutch Gamers. Winner faces Mineski for that final slot out of the SEA region in Kiev. We'll be back in a bit.